Hi everybody, so before we get into our regularly scheduled program, I just wanted to jump in and give you a quick reminder. We are doing the plant giveaway. So if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, or after you watch this video and you decide you like my planty content and you would like to see more, this is the perfect time to subscribe to my channel, because once we hit 1K, we'll be getting that giveaway started for you guys. And again, I just wanted to do this in order to show my appreciation for you guys' support on my channel. And it was really kind of hard for me to pick a plant and decide, because I was like, I really want to get something that everybody's gonna really want and love. So there might be two plants. There might be two, which means there might be two winners. That means double the chances. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and let's get back to the video. Hi, my name is Lauren and welcome to Plants and Things. In today's video, we are going to be doing a repotting chat with me, but I'm gonna try to make it a little more informational. I was kind of talking to my mom about my channel and my content and stuff, how I was feeling, and she was like, well, Lauren, you haven't really been teaching us anything lately. And I was like, you know, it's true, but I was going through this phase where I did half informational, half just like plant lifestyle type videos. But I'm gonna take her suggestion, I'm gonna bring it back and do like kind of little bit of a mix today of both. So while we do the repot and chat with me, I'm going to be chatting about propagations, when to know to pot up your propagation, how to choose the substrate for your plant, and just things surrounding that subject. I will preface this by saying this is gonna be heavily biased towards semi-hydroponics. So I'm not a soil girl. I have told myself that I want to try to start experimenting with soil more and making a mix that I like and I'm comfortable with, but I just don't really have a reason to, because I'm just happy with semi-hydro. I do get new plants that are in soil, and depending, I may or may not switch it out. I have large plants that are in soil now, and there is no way I'm taking them out of their substrate. So, but yeah, just the FYI, that's the direction this is going to be going. So if you're interested, keep on watching. So I'm gonna first just go through and show you the plants that we're gonna be working with today, and then I'm probably going to explain Mia. She's trying to, like, there's a little table here in front of me, and she's like standing in the table like, come get me, come hug me, come. She can't reach me, so that's why she's doing that. Come this way, come here, come this way. I know, come on, it's okay. Move the table out the way. Come. You made me move the table out the way and you're not even Mia. Okay, so I cleared a path for her to come to me, and she walks all the way around and stands in front of the plants. You can't go that way. Come this way. Come around. All right, we don't have time for the games you're playing. Anyways, like I said, I'm gonna first show you the plants that we're gonna be working with, and then as we work with each plant, I'll kind of explain, give some more information about how I choose my substrate. So first I'm gonna start with showing you propagations that I probably would not pot up just yet. And it's not all of these, because as you can see, there are a ton of roots in here. So obviously something is popping off in here. And it is most likely, I believe it's all of these variegated epi cuttings. And if you guys seen in my previous video, I think it's like all the plants I got in Dallas so far. I'll link it up in the cards. I got this really leggy epi, chopped it all, like everything I chopped into one leaf cuttings, and I'm so happy I did, because they're all doing so well, putting out new leaves. This is not about that, I'm sorry. Anyways, the only reason I'm showing this is because I have a plant in here that I would like to pot up, but I'm not sure. So we're gonna look at it together and see. There's a lot of roots in here. Oh, it is doing pretty good. Oh, wow. Okay, so this plant is doing, oh no, it's not okay. That's what I thought. I was about to say, this plant is doing better than I expected. No, it was, all of these are all epi roots. All of these. I'm not gonna, only reason this is not getting potted yet is because, I'll show it because it's another example. I'll show it after this. One thing at a time. All right, now I can't get these all back in here. We'll worry about that later. The one I'm not gonna show pot up, and this is an example, is my variegated giganteum, and look at this new leaf it gave me. It's so beautiful. So if you guys remember, I imported this a long time ago, and it had like 3 or 4 leaves that were just slowly dying. Actually, they weren't really doing anything for a while. I had no new roots. It had a super long chunk with a lot of roots that were kind of woody and didn't really look like they were going to do anything. So I kind of just slowly started chopping the roots back. Long story short, by the time I got here to Texas, because I've had this since I've been in Pennsylvania, every single leaf dropped. Excuse me, but thankfully it worked on this leaf probably a little bit after we got here, and it's been putting out roots. Maybe, I think as soon as we got here, it started putting out roots. It was not putting out roots in Pennsylvania. So I say this all to say, there's not a lot of root growth on here. Some people would pot this, and listen, do whatever you want to do. I'm just sharing with you guys what I was doing, what I feel comfortable doing. And I would not yet pot this up, especially since I do really love this plant and I don't want to lose it. I want to give it, wow, this is really pretty. This is the first time I like took it out of the cabinet. It's so gorgeous. I remember now. So I kind of like forgot about this plant because I wasn't really able to enjoy the leaves for such a long time. And seeing it now, this is a beauty. This is a beauty. Long story short, it doesn't have enough roots for my liking, so I'm not going to be potting it up. If these cuttings were the only thing I was working with in terms of this epi, I would pot this up now because it all has ton of roots. It even has secondary roots forming. Secondary roots to me are a good sign. Yes, my giganteum had some secondary roots, but it just wasn't enough for me. So I'm gonna wait on potting this up only because the mother plant or the bottom cut that I took it from is it's still working. Like, it's not ready like the rest of these is ready, and I'll show you in just a moment. Oh, let me put you back. You don't want no problems. I don't know how I got this all in here, but I'm just trying not to break any roots off. Oh my God, how did I get this all in here? Okay. Water roots sometimes are so fragile. This is the bottom cut of my variegated epi. It is thankfully working on a new leaf down there, but it's just, I would like to wait until this leaf emerges before I decide to pot this all together. And so one example of how I would or wouldn't choose like a substrate is this was originally potted into some type of like soil moss mixture, more heavy on the moss, I believe. So that being said, anytime I take something out of soil, I'm a little cautious with how damp, or how should I say, how long the substrate will stay moist, or how much aeration is in there, probably is what I'm really trying to say. So what I tend to do is with plants that come out of soil, I tend to put them in leca. Now this is a mix of leca and pon, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I did it at that time. Maybe it's because I was worried about the whole aeration of the roots, being that it was used to being in soil, which may have been a little more dry substance than semi-hydroponics. Maybe that's what I was thinking, but that's what I'm thinking right now. But I don't normally do that actually. The point is that at some point soil roots will start to rot away and mush off, and it just looks really, you know, kind of gross in there. So when this is ready and it puts out another leaf and I put them all together, that's when I will inspect the roots, chop off any mushy roots, and kind of make it fresh. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave it so that it can keep, you know, putting out this leaf here. And yeah, that's how I kind of decided that what this was gonna go in based on what it came from. The next plant that we're gonna be working with is this Anthurium. This is new to me. I've never heard of this plant until I got it at the Ecogenera pop-up. Anthurium propincum, I believe it's called. And anthuriums are kind of easy to me. I don't know. I don't own difficult anthuriums though. So when I say they're easy to me, it's like, this is obviously really gross. It needs to come out of here. This has only been in water for a week. It's only been in water for a week, and it was in moss before. When I say it's easy, I mean the roots are so thick and kind of hardy that whatever you put it in, it's not usually going to be a problem, at least not in my experience. Not that I have a whole entire anthurium collection, just saying that my previous anthurium, I took it and just threw it into some pond, and it was perfectly happy, perfectly fine. So that's most likely what's going to happen with this plant, is that it's going to go into pond. But we're going to have to do some root check, because I think there's a lot of broken roots down there. So that's what we're working with next. And I put it in water because, like I said, I got it from the pop-up. It was just in moss. And I just wanted to kind of see how the roots developed, how they looked, I should say, and how they were gonna like act before I just potted it up immediately or took it straight from the moss and put it into a substrate. So that's why I did that kind of intermittent situation of water. Next plant we're gonna be working with, I just realized that I said I wasn't really gonna explain anything about what I'm doing until I'm doing it, but I've been explaining it this whole time. Whatever. I guess I'm explaining it now. I have this baby Billy that I got from someone here in Dallas off of one of the plant groups here. Such a cutie. I think I only got this for like $45. I was so excited. And it's in moss. And the reason that I'm taking it out of moss is because I don't like philodendrons in moss, because I don't like when it's time to repot, their roots are so attached to the moss. It's really annoying, and I hate it. So this is most likely, I don't know what I'm gonna pot this in, to be honest. I'm not sure, because I feel like I don't have a lot of pond, so it may go into leca by default. I don't know. We're gonna leave a question mark on this one, what it's gonna be potted into. And last but not least, there's two in here. Is this beautiful Hoya princess that one of you guys from Instagram sent me. I love it. Kim sent this to me. It's so beautiful. So this was in soil, but she sent it to me bare root with some like bark around it. So that's why I just have it in water here, because when I got it, I wasn't ready to pot it up. It was in the middle of the week. I just couldn't handle it at that time. Is there two? Okay, no, yeah, this is, wait a second. Did she send me two Hoyas? Oh my, no. Is this two different Hoyas, y'all? This is one. Or is this just an unvariegated one of this one? They came together. Did she send me two different plants and I didn't even notice until now? Oh my God. Wow. Thank you. You guys have been so nice. Like, ever since I was talking about Hoyas, like most people have been like, I'll send you some Hoyas. I'll send you something. Like, thank you so much. So the point is that it came in soil. I wasn't ready to pot it at that time, so I just put it in water to let it, you know, marinate. And now I'm most likely gonna put these into leca, and I'll probably get into why once we start potting it up. The last, which you can probably see in here, is this beauty, this Periso Verde. Oh my God. So this Periso Verde we have also, I got from a plant group. These roots have gone crazy. I think there was like two when I got it like a week and a half ago, and it's already just like going off. It's so beautiful. This, I'm not actually comfortable with potting it up in a permanent substrate, so I'm probably gonna put it in perlite so it can root a little bit more, but we're gonna try out my chunky perlite. I haven't used it yet as a propagation substrate. I've just mixed it in with pond. So we're gonna try something new. But that is the reason why it's still gonna be in a propagation substrate, because it has enough roots for sure to be potted up. But I don't know, I kind of just want it to be a little more robust, and I want more leaves before I do that. And I put my props in like the same kind of vessel I would put it in permanently anyway, so it'll be cute in whatever it's in. I feel like I'm missing a plant. I feel like I had more work to do, and now it's looking like I only have like 4 things to pot up. I mean, that might be right. Let me check. So we're gonna start with the Hoya. And you guys know Hoyas are new to me, so I'm still learning about their root system, what healthy ones look like. Just based off of my basic knowledge about Hoyas is that they have very fine root systems. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the roots, they have like this inner part and then they have an outer part. And I feel like this is the inner part and then this here is the outer, healthy outer like protective layer of the root. But as you can see, it's like pretty covered in substrate here. I was trying to gently rub off the soil and it was difficult without like just breaking the roots and exposing this. So I'm just gonna leave it. I have very little, new root growth here. When I can't get all the soil off, that is when I do, like I said, I feel more comfortable putting it in leca. It just gives it a little more aeration. They're gonna mush off anyways, but I don't know, I just feel better about it. But I don't know. I know they're super thin, but I don't know, is this how thin they actually are, or is this the inner layer, like how, I'll show you in a different plant because we'll definitely see it in another plant. I don't know, but I'm not going to continue like trying to get all of this off. But you can definitely see a lot of new roots here, so I'm not worried. I'm really not worried about how it's gonna do. And like I said, I've put stuff into leca with all of this kind of on here still, and nature just kind of works its course and it does whatever it needs to do to survive. So I thought this would be really cute in here, so we're gonna put it right back in here. And I do want this to kind of like trail down and fill out beautifully. I don't want to trellis this up like I did. This actually is kind of a big container for this, but I'm gonna let it rock because I do have a smaller one, but I feel like, let's see, I have this size, but I feel like the way that this trails and drapes, like it just looks better in this larger container. So that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna put you back in there. So it's really easy, you know, with semi-hydroponics to pot up plants because you just throw that bad boy in there. You just throw that bad boy in there. I think the hardest part with transitioning plants from soil to semi-hydro is just knowing which substrate, like which semi-hydro substrate to go with and when is it the right time. This plant, I haven't had it for long, but it does have new root growth and I don't want to continue to leave it in water. So I feel like it just needs a permanent home. I'm not gonna wait any longer versus when I may have like imports and I wait like sometimes a couple months before I actually pot it up. So this is not an import. I think it will get its life together and be fine. Hoyas are pretty resilient. So, oh no, that's what we're gonna do. I'm just trying to hold this in here. I do really like the ease of potting plants into leca because I can just pick it up and throw it in here, not like with pond where you need a scoop and it can get a little messy and it's hard to kind of pick up the excess substrate because you know I don't like to waste stuff. But yeah. All right, this looks so pretty already. So pretty. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Okay. What I like about using leca is that with the substrate being so large, the particles being so large, it does let a lot of air in. So, because sometimes I get nervous about getting stem rot around where the stem meets the substrate with transplants or new like propagations to substrate or propagations to potting it up. It's happened to me before, but I feel like it's less likely with leca because of the aeration. So that is another reason why I like leca. I've been using it a little bit more lately these days, but that was super easy. I love how this is pink like this, and this is pink. Like, oh, this firmed up a little better. When I got it in the mail, it was a little soft because obviously it was in the mail, but These gotta be 2 different plants. I gotta ask her. Anyways, gorgeous. This one is already done. And the last time I did this, I think I took too long with some other plants. I took too long to water them, so I'm gonna water them now. And this was in water, so I'm pretty sure it won't mind having quite a bit of water. I do find myself lately these days filling up my reservoir a lot more than I used to. I used to just put like the bottom maybe 3rd or 4th down here, and I always used to drill a hole in it. I stopped drilling a hole, number one, because I got lazy and I didn't feel like doing it anymore, but then also I felt like I wasn't having any adverse reactions from not flushing or not having the drain hole, so I just stopped doing it. But now that it's summer, I've been kind of filling my plants almost halfway, just because they be drinking up all the water so quickly. But yeah, that's the first one. The next one we can do is the Periso Verde, and as I mentioned, it does have a lot of good roots. It does have sufficient roots. It's getting like, it's not secondary roots, but it's doing something. But it hasn't put out a new leaf yet since I got it, which is fine. I'm not expecting it to. I'm just saying that to me, we haven't crossed, we haven't, you know, made it past the threshold of me being super comfortable. So with all that being said, we're gonna do chunky perlite. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is going to be my first time using chunky perlite for propagation only situation. I got this off of Amazon and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I know I don't like the way it feels in my fingers. I know that. I wasn't sure when I first got it. Like, I was like, is this styrofoam or is this perlite? Because it was looking a lot like styrofoam. And I got worried about wetting it to rinse it. It's still kind of damp, but I rinsed it because it was just so dusty. I was like, there's no way I'm going to handle it with it being this dusty. So I rinsed it and I was like, is it going to melt like styrofoam? So I at first it was kind of warm, the water. I put too much. Darn it. Okay. And it didn't melt. It didn't melt. And I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't melt. But I was like, it's looking real styrofoamy. And then there was a whole lot of dust, you know, at the bottom of the bag. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna rinse it through it, like, cause I had a strainer. That dust just became, it was like, I don't even know how to call it. It was not running through. It just became caked up in the strainer with the other perlite. And I'm like, okay, that didn't really work. This looks so cute. Anywho, this is chunky perlite. And so far, so good. So I decided to use this because I don't like over time how the perlite becomes really kind of compacted over a long period of time. Don't get me wrong, I still really love perlite from my propagation, especially from my prop boxes. I absolutely love it. But I would like to try this out because this could stay in here a lot longer and it won't require me to refresh it or anything anytime soon because it won't be so compacted on the roots. And I feel like this plant is a good size to try this out with because it's not a tiny baby. I probably wouldn't put a tiny baby plant in this chunky of perlite, but this size plant just felt like it was the right match for this. And that's something that I always take into consideration too when I decide on my substrate. You know, how big is the plant? How big are the roots? Like, how big is it gonna be? You know, that is another determining factor. So that one done, easy. I'm probably gonna put this in my cabinet because that's where it was initially. The hoya is just gonna go out on the shelf like normal. Next is this beauty. I hope that this leaf, you know, doesn't give up on life. I'm pretty sure it is going to give up on life. It's not mushy though. It's not mushy. I hope it doesn't give up on life. So this I needed to do a little more examining of, because I feel like, okay, so when you're potting up a plant, obviously that's the right time to be examining your roots and just give them a gentle little like squeeze. Like, see this and just compare. Like, if you don't know, compare. Like, this feels nice and firm and plump. This feels mushy. And you can see like how it just gently, I didn't even, you know, and that's what I was talking about, that inner layer of the root. And I wasn't sure if that's what I was seeing on the Hoya or not, because I haven't dealt that closely with Hoyas yet. But that's the only way you're gonna learn, guys. It's just experimenting. This is broken, so I'm just gonna cut off any broken roots because they're only gonna rot off anyways. So this, I'm not sure. I'm gonna leave it because it hasn't turned black, so I'm gonna leave it, or brown. See, this part has turned black, so maybe this is a broken root here. Where is it? It's a secondary root. Try not to cut off the good one. So I'm just gently giving everything a gentle squish. Like, this looks weird, but I guess it's fine. This just looks squishy right here. And it's actually not that squishy, but it's completely bent in multiple places, so I feel like it's broken. So is this one, and it's already starting to turn black. So I'm just getting rid of anything that doesn't need to be here before I put it into its permanent home, which I'm not gonna lie, I low-key want to put it in leca instead of pond. And I think it's only because I'm being stingy, because I really don't have a lot of pond left. And I think I want to put my baby Billy into pond. I don't know. It depends on what the baby Billy's roots look like. Maybe I should do that one first. Yeah, maybe I'll do the Billy first, see what the roots look like, and then determine what this is going to go in. Because unfortunately, this is like super limp, but it's not turned black. So I'm going to leave it. I don't want to go crazy chopping off stuff that doesn't need to be chopped off. All right, so this is good for now for me. This isn't mushy, so I'm going to leave it. This cataphil looks weird. I'm gonna just take it off. Oh gosh, I don't want to snap anything. This part looks weird. I'm gonna leave it because I don't know what it is. Oh, is it a new leaf trying to? Oh, it's a new leaf in there. You're not gonna be able to see it because it's so tiny. All right, we're gonna put this back. We're gonna wait on this. We're gonna wait on this because I want to see what the roots on my baby Billy is looking like before I decide to do that. Now this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard because the roots on this thing, like, I shouldn't do this like this. Where's my plastic bag? Where's my plastic bag? Plastic go. Oh, you know what? I do want to keep this moss. This is pretty decent moss. Here we go. Hey. All right, let's get rid of the garbage first. How about that? I'm probably not gonna keep this. There we go. All right. I always try to keep it reasonably organized when I film because I just do not like a major cleanup when I'm done. So this is what I'm talking about when I say I hate philodendrons and moss, because all of these secondary roots attach so much to the moss. And I mean, obviously it's inevitable to not have any root breakage anytime you're repotting a plant, but this is obviously a smaller plant. Like and the other reason I wanted to take it out of this pot is because y'all saw how floppy it was in there. I understand the person before, she probably didn't want to bury the node, and that's why she had it so loosely in the moss, which is perfectly fine, but it just wasn't stable. And I wanted it in a nicer pot anyways, because the longer that I see plants that are kind of like, I don't know, in kind of sort of propagation mode in pots that I don't like the way they look, I'm like itching to touch it and do something with it. So I'm gonna just change the pot because I don't want it in that nursery pot anymore. And I don't want it to get root bound in this moss, which I'm obviously too late. I've only had it, I waited because this leaf, which one? This one is the newest leaf, the first leaf in my care. This thing is a beast because this started coming out. The caterpillar was there, but there was no leaf emerging out of it when I got it. And probably within like literally 2 days, the leaf started emerging. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait. Cause normally I would like let it sit in my room for a day. And then the next day, if I want to repot it, I repot it like the next day. I do not wait because I just don't. I just don't wait. Some people are like, oh, you know, let the plant calm down. You know, it's in a new environment. And that is true. But that's just not what I do. Like, it's probably very true, but I just don't do that. I rather just get it in the situation I want it to be in once it's in my home and let it get used to being in that situation in my home versus letting it be and then bothering it again. You know, I'd rather just do it all at once. So I will either repot it the night that I get it if I have time or the next day. And the only reason I didn't was because this thing was starting to push out a leaf already. And I was like, okay, I guess I have to wait. We're gonna be here a while, so I'm either gonna come back to you when I'm done or time lapse this or whatever. If you find this satisfying, let me know in the comments below. And next time I won't cut it out if I decide to cut it out. I don't know if it was helpful or not, but I did water it yesterday thinking that maybe the moist moss would be easier to remove. And I feel like it is because the roots maybe won't snap as easily. Thank God this person used long fiber moss. So like once you get, you know, one end of it, you kind of can get a nice big chunk off. Some people like milled moss. I never tried that before, or they'll put it like in a food processor and chop it up. I've never tried it before. I'm sure it's great, but I'm glad it's not that. Oh, maybe that would be easier. I don't know, because then it won't be tangled. I don't know. Have you guys tried that? Have you tried milling your moss or putting it in a food processor? Is it easier than this or not? Once I get down to this, I do not try to get all the little fibers of moss off because it's most likely attached to a secondary root. And if nothing's wrong with a secondary root, I don't want to make anything wrong with it, you know, by trying to get it off. Some people just love propagating plants in moss. They just have such great success with it, and I just don't. I literally just don't. I have a white wizard in moss that I'm not sure, like I don't even know how I ended up putting it in moss because I do not propagate plants in moss, but in my mind, I don't know. Either I thought it would be safer, maybe I thought it'd be safer because sometimes with perlite, I feel like it's do or die with perlite. Does that make sense? Like it's either gonna do great or it's gonna do terrible, but it's not usually like in between. And I just didn't want to take that risk with my white wizard because it was expensive. This last chunk here. All right, I feel like this is mostly root. If I feel like I'm dealing with mostly root at this point, I won't go crazy trying to get every little thing off. I think this is pretty good. So this is this is feeling really, this is feeling really dry. And if I wasn't sitting down and feeling kind of locked in, I would put it in some water, but this is all the pond I have left and it's not enough. So I think I'm going to, there's some random pond here from yesterday when I was filming. Has a little bit of other random stuff that probably shouldn't be in here. Excuse me. I think I'm going to either mix it with perlite. How much do I have left? I'm gonna either mix it with perlite to stretch it, or, which I think that'll be fine. I think, I don't have that much, but yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'll use leca for the anthurium, which I didn't want to do that. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to put it in pond. I could just put the billy in pond. I mean, in leca. Decisions. What do I want to do? I have to hurry up because this is gonna dry out from sitting out. I'm gonna put it in pond mixed with perlite. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna use the little bit of this that's left. There's like other random stuff in here. I'm just gonna make sure there's no dead plant matter in here. And moss, which I do see some of. All right, I'm gonna put this in here. More moss. I probably do not really clean my substrate the way that I should. And I'm just lazy. 3. All right. I would have liked to mix this like off to the side, but I didn't bring my other bowl. And the chances of me getting up at this time is very, very low. I still don't think this is gonna be enough. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna mix it over here maybe because I need to mix it before I put it in there. Oof. I do used to rinse this pond, and honestly the only reason I didn't do it this time is because I just forgot. I just forgot, that is all. I would have liked to mix it. A lot of perlite in there. It's more perlite than pond. I would like more pond. That's what's gonna come out of here. We are down to the wire. This bag did last me a little minute though. I got this bag a long time ago. Long time ago. This is not any more stable than it was when it was in that other thing. That's because I would need to put more substrate to stabilize it. I want it more stable. I would have to just put it more lower, which means I have to dump it out. We're gonna have to do it. This is a funny looking potted up plant, man. First of all, the billy is already has such a wide arm span. I'm just trying to cover up some of this perlite. I don't like the way it looks. I don't mind the way it looks when it's mixed in, but I don't want it on top. All right, that's what it's gonna be for now. And this was purely because I just didn't have enough pure pond to put it in, which is what I really wanted. I wonder, I probably would have used less pond. I probably would have, this would have been more than enough if I put it in the anthurium and then put leca in here, but I don't know, I really wanted to put this in pond. I think it just like felt really dry, and I was like, no, it needs pond because it feels really dry. Because I feel like leca, being that the balls are larger, the clay balls are large, they can dry out easily. Is that y'all's experience? That's my experience. Last but not least, which is gonna be super easy and quick. That is the thing about leca though. It is the quickest way to pot up a plant. Especially if you just put straight leca and nothing else. It'd be done in 2.2 seconds. Flat. How high up do I want this to be? I kind of want it to be right here. So this is actually my first time putting a anthurium into leca. My other anthurium is in pond, and it's very happy in pond, but it does look very murky and muddy. And that was with lechuza pond, not with Little Emerald Thumbs pond. And I feel like lechuza pond is dustier than Little Emerald Thumbs pond. Little Emerald Thumbs pond is from her Etsy shop. Her name is Erin, and I like it more than the lechuza pond because it's not so, there's air pocket down there, it's not so dusty. It's really easy to rinse. Okay. Oh, that's a root. I'm like, what is that? I'm looking at this thinking that, I'm like, that can't be a growth point. This is a growth point. That's a root. Let me cover that up. Should I put moss? I'm not gonna put moss at the top just yet because I don't see the need to just yet. Although that root is like trying to go somewhere. All right. Like I said, I wouldn't normally, like if I was using soil, I wouldn't normally put the soil up this high around the petioles, but with leca, more so than pond, I do feel comfortable to kind of come up around the petiole a little bit because it's very airy in there. It's gonna be less likely to rot. Whereas with soil, or sometimes even pond, the petiole, you can get rot right at the petiole where it meets the substrate, just because, I don't know, honestly, but that's the case. All right, so we are done. That did not take long at all. I'm not even gonna go through wiring it through. I just been talking for the past 10 minutes only to realize I didn't have my mic on me. So I'm not even going to go through the trouble of hiding it right now. It is what it is. Let me start from the top, just in case you didn't hear me. I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of all the plants and how they're looking, how they came out. The Crimson Princess, as I mentioned, I don't know if this is a different plant that's in here. I have to message Kim and ask her, but let me know, what do you guys think? Is it two different plants in here? Either way, it looks gorgeous. I am gonna keep a close eye on these roots. I do expect them to kind of rot away and mush off, but hopefully it was already starting to produce new roots in water, so I think it's gonna be fine. But I chose to put it in the leca for that reason, because it came out of soil. And then we had the beautiful Pariso Verde. It had some new root growth here and here, but it is not enough that I would put it in, that I would be comfortable putting in a permanent substrate. So I put it in this chunky perlite as a nice little middleman. If I didn't have the chunky perlite, I probably would have put it in regular perlite as well, or just left it in water. You can do either or, just to kind of ensure that you get a little more stability out of the plant before you put it into its permanent home. So I do like the idea of this chunky perlite. I don't know yet how well it really works, but I do really like the idea of it. And it is a little expensive. There's a lot of expensive, but it might be worth it because I just don't like I like propagating my plants in perlite. I like the ease of them. I feel like I get fast growth. I feel like I get the fastest growth with propagations in perlite. However, at the end, when it's time to transition it and I have to clean out the vessel, it's cemented towards the bottom, and it really is just, I don't like handling it, and it just feels weird, and I don't like it. It doesn't seem to be a problem for the plant, but I just don't like it. So that's why I want to try out this chunky perlite. And then we have the anthurium one last time. Also, this is in leca. For only reason this is in leca really is because I didn't have enough pon, but I find that anthuriums do well in either, at least in my experience. Again, not that I have an entire collection of anthuriums, but to me, you can't really go wrong with leca versus pon. The only time I really differentiate the two is based on the size of the plant. This plant was quite large to me, so I felt it was just fine to put it into leca, and the roots are hardy, so it'll be just fine in leca. The last but not least is my Billy, and again, these roots were super fine and they were kind of dry to me, so I felt like pon would be better for it. I did mix perlite in here only because I didn't have enough pon. If I had enough pon, it would probably be in straight pon, but it's not going to be a problem for it to have some perlite mixed in here. If anything, it'll give it a little more aeration, but it did come from moss. So moss roots to me are a little different than soil roots. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you've had a different experience, but I just don't feel that I ever really have an issue, because moss, it's not semi-hydro, but it's more hydrated, or there's more water involved than soil usually. So I never really have a problem from moss to semi-hydro. So with that being said, I was not worried at all about putting it into pon. And that is why I chose to put it into pon. And yeah, I think that is everything. Yes, that's everything. So please let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed this video, if it was any values to you, if it was helpful at all, or if there's something that you would like more information on, or something completely different that I haven't even talked about that you would like more information on. Please feel free to leave it in the comments below. If you liked the video, please press the like button. If you're not already subscribed to my channel at this point, you're just being ridiculous. Subscribe to my channel and have a good night.